Good afternoon, everyone. So, we have concluded on our initial hearing. And let us be reminded that this hearing, clarificatory hearing, is intended for the determination of probable cause, not for the purpose of determining the guilt or innocence of the respondent, no? So for today, we acted on the motion for the issuance of subpoenas. Medyo madami yon. We are issuing subpoena to the Ombudsman with respect to the SALN, and then the COA with respect to the documents on confidential fund, and the BIR also with respect to income tax returns, and the SEC with respect to the general information sheet and audited financial statement of certain business establishments of the respondent, as mentioned kanina ni Congressman Ridon during the raising of his motion, no? We also acted in favor of the request for protective custody of witness Ramil Madriaga. We are also issuing subpoena ad testificandum to certain witnesses named by Congresswoman De Lima, no? Among those witnesses, of course, is Ramil Madriaga. So we expect to hear his testimony on our next hearing that will be on April 14. Now, about the letter of the Respondents' Council, the use of mini-trial, the term mini-trial, is only to help the public distinguish the proceeding before the Justice Committee vis-a-vis the trial which will happen in the Senate, no? Definitely, this impeachment proceeding before the Justice Committee, particularly the hearing proper, is tantamount to a preliminary investigation. And therefore, there will be clarificatory hearing as distinguished from a trial that is for the purpose of determining the existence or non-existence of probable cause. If you try to imagine, kung walang clarificatory hearing, how are we going to decide on the existence of probable cause? We should remember that in the decision of the Supreme Court, Duterte versus House of Representatives, we were repeatedly reminded to go over the evidence, to weigh the same, and to make sure even that the House members or the Justice members understand and know the evidence that supports the allegation of offenses and allegation of grounds, no? So in response to the letter of the Respondents' Council, I reiterate that what is happening before the Justice Committee is not a trial. We are very much aware that trial will happen only in the Senate, and that is very clear as well in the Constitution. What is happening before the Justice Committee is a preliminary investigation where there is clarificatory hearing to aid the justice members in the determination of the existence of probable cause. There's actually a big difference between the proceeding in the Senate and the proceeding before the Justice Committee. Remember, our parameter here is probable cause only, which simply means a justification to be able to proceed to trial. Doon sa trial, which happens in the Senate, what they determine is the guilt or the innocence of the respondent. Ultimately, the proceeding before the Justice Committee must be judged not on the basis of the label, not on the basis of the terminology, not on the basis of the nomenclature. It should be judged on the entirety of the proceeding that is happening before the Justice Committee. We maintain the position. This is not a trial. This is a clarificatory hearing akin to a preliminary investigation. For purposes of our opening statement, that would be all.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon po. Well, you've already clarified about the mini trial. At a press conference po this afternoon, the camp of Vice President Sara Duterte insists that the House intends to conduct a trial. That's why isa po yun sa mga binabanggit nila kaya hindi po sila a-attend. And at the same time, they still question the constitutionality of the overall proceedings. So, having said that, do you still expect the Vice President to attend one of the hearings or sa mga susunod pa po, considering their position?
Well, it's hard really to preempt what will be the mindset or the position of the Vice President on the subsequent hearings. But nevertheless, notwithstanding their non-attendance or non-participation in today's hearing, we are welcoming the participation of the Vice President and her counsel at any stage of our proceeding. As a matter of fact, ito yung matagal nang hinihintay ng taong bayan. Ang kasagutan sa mga alegasyon ng confidential fund, threat, at unexplained wealth. The people are waiting since 2024, and we are really hoping in the Justice Committee that the Vice President will participate and take advantage of this opportunity to answer all the allegations against her.
Yung kay Ramil Madriaga po, for clarification lang po. So what happens po? Ano po yung magiging process ng pagdadala sa kanya dito sa House? Kung sa April 14 ay ina-expect po na papakinggan na po yung testimonya po niya.
Pagka naman po talagang ipapatawag na si Ramil Madriaga, we will have to coordinate with the court and with the BJMP. Kasi siyempre, sila po yung meron talagang jurisdiction over Mr. Madriaga. No? So, pagka meron na pong hearing date, yung pong pag-appear ni April 14, no? Yung pong pagpunta niya, we will have to coordinate with the court and the BJMP relating to that.
In addition to that, in line with our order to issue the subpoena ad testificandum to Ramil Madriaga, as well as subpoena duces tecum with regards to his original affidavit, we have directed the Office of the Sergeant at Arms of the House of Representatives, as well as the Office of the Legislative Security, likewise of the House of Representatives, to coordinate with the BJMP and the court to make sure that all measures in line with his protective custody will be observed when he attends the hearing this coming April 14, 2026.
Okay, last question na lang po. Sabi ni VP Sara sa isang statement this morning, parang pangatlong fishing expedition na raw po ito ng House of Representatives. At kanina po, may binabanggit si Kong Rufus regarding dun sa sinasabi ni Kong Terry kanina na he objects because it's a fishing expedition nga daw po.
Alam niyo, entitled naman ho sila sa opinion nila eh. Di ba? Pero the facts are very clear. Meron pong kailangan ipaliwanag ang atin pong pangalawang Pangulo doon sa discrepancy na kanya pong asalin ng 2007 at 2024. Yung pong wealth gap between yung cumulative salary ng 30 to 50 million at yung pong 88 million net worth niya in 2024. So yung magpapaliwanag po nitong lahat ng ito, yung pong lahat ng mga isasabi na pong mga dokumento from the BIR, tax payments, tax records, ITR, VAT payments ng mag-asawang Duterte Carpio at yung pong mga kumpanya po kung saan po nailista sa 2024. Maipapaliwanag din po yan mula doon sa audited financial statements nung pong kanila pong mga kumpanya na linista rin po sa 2024. Fishing expedition lang ho yun kung wala ho tayong pinagsisimulang mga dokumento. Ang problema meron. Nasasalin po mismo ng pangalawang Pangulo.
May I add to that that we will remember that there has been a declaration of sufficiency in form. There has been a declaration of sufficiency in substance. And there has been a declaration of sufficiency in ground. In other words, the committee already ruled on the existence of sufficient basis to proceed to hearing proper. That includes the issuance of subpoena.
Sorry, last na pong pahabol. Sorry po. Na-resolve na po ba yung issue kay Attorney Michael Powa at kay Reynold Munsayak kung paano po yung magiging treatment sa kanila as witnesses po ba or as a counsel po ni VP Sara? Kasi sa press con din po today, this afternoon, parang willing naman daw po si Attorney Powa na umattend sa hearing. Babasahin pa lang daw po muna niya yung laman ng subpoena.
Well, ito na po yung pag-step forward, no? Nung pong proseso dito po sa dalawa pong mga abogado. So, meron na pong subpoena on Mr. Powa. So, we will see in the next hearing, no, kung how he will take this particular subpoena. Kasi nabanggit naman halimbawa, yung pong relevancy nung pong kanya pong pag-i-issue po ng subpoena laban sa kanya. Ganyan din po yung mangyayari in the event that a subpoena is issued to Mr. Munsayak. No? So, it will depend on them as to how they will appreciate their attendance to future hearings po.
Ma'am? Ay, sorry. Sir, Kong Raydon, kasi kanina po, I think nag-manifest din si Vice Chair Keith Flores regarding nga po doon sa pinunan niya yung years during na Vice Mayor pa si VP Sara, papasabi na yung mga documents like BIR at ITR, mga yung mga GIS. Gayong hindi naman po siya impeachable offense kasi officer during that time. I understand na kwento nyo rin po in detail kanina, pero kayo na-elaborate lang din, sir. Kasi as much as we wanted to be very careful nga, di ba? Sa umpisa pa lang tinatalakay na dapat medyo cautious tayo dun sa kung paano to, yung pag-usad po ng proseso. Pero sir, hindi ba, yun nga, na-consider din na baka nga matira ulit sa Supreme Court na titignan yung mga taon na hindi naman po impeachable officer ang VP dito sa mga dokumentong to?
Well, clear ho yung relevancy ng mga taon from 2007 to 2024. No? Kasi doon ho yung pagkakumpara at paghambing noon po nga paglaki po ng yaman. At doon po din manggagaling yung po nga pagpapaliwanag kung explainable or unexplainable wealth po ba ito. Kumbaga, we cannot simply rely on existing years, no, from 2022 to date para ho maipakita ito pong pattern na ito. Kasi in the first place, ang paliwanag naman po ng mga supporters po ng pangalawang Pangulo, yung pong kanyang current na kayamanan ay iniluluwal hindi lamang ng kanyang sahod, kundi ng kanila pong mga negosyo, katulad ng ice plant, at nung kanila pong trabaho bilang mga abogado. So, very important ho yung tie. Meron pong tie to the current years Hindi ba? Ng 2022 to 2024. No? So, I don't think magmamatter po yung binabanggit na previous to 2022, hindi po dapat siya kasama. Kasi nga, what we would want to be able to establish is the actual pattern and actual year-on-year growth, no, of all of these financial documents. And we would want to be able to see it. Pwede ho yan kung we are tying them only for impeachment relating to 2007 to 2022. Talagang wala ho tayong pag-usapan doon. But we are talking about an actually existing SALN for 2023 and 2024. So, doon ho manggagaling yung pagbabatayan ng pong look back going to 2007.
Good afternoon po. Question lang po, kasi dun sa original na letter ni Congressman Jokno, meron po siya dong request for subpoena sa AMLC certification na walang kinalaman yung walang suspicious transaction involving the accounts of the Vice President, her husband, and even former President Duterte. Nandun po sa letter niya. Pero kanina kasi hindi po na-erase. And it was, hindi rin po wala rin pong nag-motion to subpoena the bank records of the Vice President. So, does this mean na hindi na yun on the table, hindi na pwedeng mag-motion about that, or pwede pa rin yun i-put forward, pwede pa rin mag-move yung kahit sinong member ng Justice Committee for subpoena of the bank records of the Vice President at a later part?
Since the request is not withdrawn as well, then I must say that the request is continuing. It will depend on the succeeding hearings if any of the justice members will be formalizing the motion for issuance of subpoena to AMLA. For today, nobody raised that motion.
Ma'am, so even kasi po yung AMLAC nasa request ni Congressman Jokno prior. Pero kung subpoena po in terms of bank records, pwede po bang may mag-motion nun sa succeeding hearings kahit walang prior letter to the Justice Committee?
Are you referring to subpoena of AMLA or subpoena of banks?
Bank records po. Kasi
Bank
as you said
records.
before,
And to whom
exempted
will
siya
the
sa bank
subpoena
secrecy.
be addressed? To the AMLA? To produce bank records? Is that your question?
Yes, ma'am. Opo. Parang pwede po ba yung i-put forward
So,
ng kahit sino?
As to whether or not the committee will be acting on that concern in the succeeding hearings, it will depend really if there will be justice members who will be formalizing or moving towards the issuance of subpoena to AMLA. Kung walang magpo-formalize ng motion, then that remains a continuing request which is not being withdrawn by the Congressman Chel Jokno, but without a motion, definitely the Justice Committee cannot act on that.
Hi, Kong. Hi, Kong. Good afternoon. Tingin po ba ng komite, sapat na po yung pag-request ng additional protection, security for Madriaga as opposed to the House taking full custody? Because if I remember po, that was the original request na yung House na po yung sumailalim na si Madriaga sa ilalim ng kustodiya ng House.
I don't know if indeed the members requested that the custody be transferred to the House of Representatives. But I remember during the last hearing, prior to this representation was corrected by Congressman Chel Jokno because indeed the motion is not for the transfer of custody to the House, but it is a motion for protective custody, which can pertain to some or more measures towards protecting the safety of witness Ramil Madriaga. Kanina, we witnessed Congressman Chel Jokno enumerate the details of his request. So what I recall, ang sabi niya dyan, i-augment ang security with NBI security personnel. Second, to ensure the safety of his transport in attending hearings before the Justice Committee. And the third is to make sure that secured yung kanyang detention place while this hearing is ongoing. So these are the three specific concerns of Congressman Chel Jokno, which he requested to be addressed. He moved to be addressed in his motion for protective custody, and which, as you witnessed, the Justice Committee acted on favorably.
But do you think po, Congresswoman, is it sufficient for now, or are we not ruling out the possibility na yung House ay si Badriaga sasailalim na lang fully in the future sa kustodiya ng
The
House?
committee can actually act depending on the motions which are being raised. And since no one raised the motion for transfer of custody, wala tayong tinalakay na ganyan. As to sufficiency, I think naman reasonably sufficient yung mga ni-request ni Congressman Jokno about making sure that protective custody is provided to witness Ramil Madriaga.
Related naman, on another topic naman po, patungkol po doon sa label na mini trial, because we saw Vice President Sara's statement and she sort of like siguro weaponized the use of that word phrase. And I remember po last week kayo po yung isa mga nagbanggit noong salitang yon, nung label na yon. Do you still stand by that label, categorization to refer to what is happening to here in the House of Representatives? Or do you sort of like regret that given na ginagamit po ito ng kampo ni VP Sara?
For purposes of accuracy, no, the use of mini trial in the past interviews was only to guide the viewing public in distinguishing the proceeding before the Justice Committee with the trial, which will happen in the Senate. Again, to be very accurate, what is happening in the Justice Committee is akin to a preliminary investigation in which there should be a clarificatory hearing where the justice members will raise question for the purpose of guiding them in the determination of probable cause. No? Kung walang clarificatory hearing, kung hindi magtatanong ang mga justice members, ang tanong ko naman sa inyo, paano kaya i-determine ng justice members ang existence or non-existence of probable cause?
So kayo, Kong, you wouldn't shy away from using it just to guide the public pa rin of what is happening in the House?
Of course, because the intention only in using that terminology is to make it better understandable on the part of the viewing public that this is different from the trial that is happening in the Senate.
So no regrets, Kong?
No regrets.
And finally po, sa pahayag kasi ni VP Sara, I think today, she's sort of like framing what is happening in the House as bakit nagfo-focus yung House dito sa political matter na ito as opposed to gut issues that are happening in the country. Can the House Justice Committee lang po siguro articulate further why this impeachment proceeding is important despite yung nararanasan ng mga publiko, mga gut issues na kinakaharap nila?
Well, una sa lahat, hindi lang naman na gut issues yung mahalaga eh. Katulad ng sinabi ng ilang mga senador nung nagdaan pong impeachment, hindi lang naman pagkain, kalusugan at ang mahalaga sa taong bayan. Mahalaga rin po yung pananagutan, mahalaga rin po yung katarungan. Nakakain ba yun? Hindi. Pero mahalaga sa tao yun. Hindi ba? At hindi rin totoo. Katulad ng binanggit ng atin pong chair kanina, na wala hong focus doon sa krisis ang Kongreso. Yung pong passage po ng excise taxes removal, suspension, nagawa po ito ng Kongreso within the span of 2 weeks. No? At for the signing of the President na po ito. At the same time, na tumatakbo po yung accountability mechanisms ng House Justice Committee na ipagsabay po ito sa economic relief measures po ng Kongreso sa kabuuan. So, hindi po yung totoo na dito lang kami nakafocus sa politika, sa pagpapanagot, kasi ang totoo, kahit sa mga pang-ekonomikong mga usapin, tumindig po yung Kongreso para dito.
Thank you po.
Good afternoon po.
Sige, go.
Nabanggit niyo po kanina na expected po yung testimony ni Ramil Madriaga sa April 14. Ano pa po ba yung inaasahan po natin dun sa next na hearing? Lahat po ba nung pinasasapi na po itatakil natin din?
Well, since we have issued the subpoena already, we will see if we can accommodate all their testimonies and presentation of documents, then we will do that.
Hello po, good afternoon. Isaiah from Abante and Billionario. Ma'am, question lang regarding with the statement of the Vice President na sinasabi nila na hindi na raw nila pagtutuunan ng pansin ang House of Representatives dahil parang sigurado naman ang may impeach siya dito kaya sa Senate na raw sila haharap. So is it parang a sign before us na madaliin na to, magbotohan na sa plenaryo? Kasi parang we're not expecting for the Vice President naman na pumunta na dito.
Well, una sa lahat, hindi ko alam doon sa listahan ng mga pahayag ng pangalawang Pangulo na sinabi niya yan. Hindi ko walang ganon. Nakita ko yung statement kanina, ang sinasabi lang niya, dapat ibasura ng House Justice Committee ito pong impeachment complaint laban sa kanya. Wala siyang sinabi patungkol doon sa specific wording na binabanggit po ninyo. Pero again, ang gagawin po ng committee na ito, we will fulfill our constitutional mandate para ho dinggin ito pong mga ebidensya at magkaroon po ng committee report and to go to the plenary and vote on the impeachment. No? So I think that is the process that we will undertake, no? And given all of the schedules that we have today.
Also, sir, just regards with Congressman Rufus kanina, I mean, as he is a member of the committee and sa lahat ng motion, halos siya lang po yung mga tumututol. Are we expecting for him to do that na tutulan yung ibang mga motions natin?
I think you have to ask it to him. No? I mean, I don't speak for Congressman Rodriguez. No? So he has his own mind, he has his own view of the world. No? So we respect him. So I think how he will deal with it in the next hearing, so siya ho yung makakapagpasya.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon po, Eden Santos from Net25. Nakonsulta po ba ng mga congressmen na miyembro ng House Committee on Justice yung inyong mga constituent kung talagang gusto po nilang ma-impeach si VP Sara since sa bawat lumalabas po ang trust ratings, mga survey, ay nananatili pong mataas ang trust ratings ni VP Sara?
Well, for my part, yes. I am from Batangas. And my constituents support this impeachment process.
Well, sa bahagi po, syempre, yung consultative mechanisms naman, no, merong tumututol, meron din pong hindi tumututol, no, dito po sa impeachment proceedings po na ito. Pero balikan ho natin yung Pulse Asia Survey on distrust against the Vice President. Ang pinakamataas pong porsyento ron, ang nakalagay ho doon, corruption allegations against the Vice President. So, Tiko, yun ang pinaghuhugutan nung pong mga constituencies po na sumusuporta ho dito sa impeachment. I think they would want to see some closure on the matter of confidential funds, unexplained wealth, and the death threat against the President.
Another question po. Bakit po hindi inaalaw or may limitations po yung participation ng mga legal counsel ni Vice President Sara Duterte dito sa mini trial or clarificatory hearing para mas makatulong po na ma-determine yung probable cause kung maririnig din po yung side ng mga ng kampo ni VP Sara through her lawyers po.
If we allow that to happen, then that will be a trial. But since this is a preliminary investigation, as stated during the hearing this morning, the participation of their lawyer is limited to the assistance, which will be given during the hearing, submission of memorandum, pleadings, and other documents, and propounding of questions through the chairperson of the Justice Committee. No? Ulitin natin yon. If we allow the raising of questions to the lawyers, not just of the respondent, but even of the complainant, then that will be tantamount to hearing. Because that is one thing that distinguishes a trial from the clarificatory hearing. No? And since this is akin to a preliminary investigation only, the questions actually must come from the prosecutors, who in this case are the justice members. But nevertheless, in pursuit of due process, we allowed this morning the lawyers of the respondent and the lawyers of the other parties to propound questions. However, they will be coursed through the presiding officer.
Medyo ano lang po kasi para sana mas makatulong na mas mabilis ninyong ma-determine yung probable cause sa pamagitan po ng presentation of evidence, facts ng complainant at saka nung respondent.
Well, let us be reminded that clarificatory hearing for the purpose of determining probable cause is entirely different from the trial which will happen in the Senate, no? Let us remember that the proceeding before the Justice Committee is intended only for the determination of probable cause, described as a justification for us to proceed to trial, no?
So come May po, meron na tayong recommendation or pagbobotohan na po ito sa plenary and iaakit na sa Senate.
We cannot tell yet. It will depend on the progress of the presentation of evidence of both parties, not just the complainant, because we continue to open the hearing for presentation of evidence of the respondent.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, for the, pahabol lang. For the record, ma'am, kasi parang dun sa letter ni Vice President sa committee, ang pinaka-argument niya, wala yung jurisdiction yung committee. Kasi nga, the committee daw intends to hold trial. For the record lang po, the committee has jurisdiction. And parang can you elaborate why the committee has jurisdiction on this particular proceeding? Thank you.
Definitely, the Committee on Justice has jurisdiction over these impeachment complaints. This is not a trial. The use of mini trial is only to guide the public in distinguishing the proceeding before the Justice Committee with the trial which will happen in the Senate. And to further distinguish the same, let us remember that this clarificatory hearing is intended only to guide the justice members in the determination of probable cause. Unlike in the trial before the Senate, the objective is to determine the guilt or the innocence of the respondent.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon po, Rafi Tima from GMA7. Para lang po mas malinaw palalo, since laging binabanggit na clarificatory lang itong hearing nito at yung guilt ay didetermine sa Senate, is it safe to say na mas mababa yung bar dito sa mini-hearing or sa probable cause compared dun sa Senado? Para po sa mga nagko-question na naghahanap ng ebidensya dito pa lamang po sa inyong mini-hearing.
That is correct, no? Dito sa clarificatory hearing before the Justice Committee, probable cause ang pinag-uusapan. Although I stated in my opening statement that this is different from the probable cause as defined in the criminal prosecution. To simplify, by probable cause in impeachment proceedings, it is the justification for us to be able to proceed to trial, no? Doon sa trial, of course, the amount of evidence would be higher because we will be determining already the guilt or the innocence of the respondent. But in both cases, it will be the conscience vote of the justice members for the purpose of clarificatory hearing and of the senators for the purpose of the impeachment trial.
Okay, maraming salamat.